You ready?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Golf Committee for September the 10th, 2024. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 20, I must inquire if anyone is taping this meeting. Seeing none, the other item is that a notification to the public that you could participate in the meeting via remote participation and Zoom. This meeting is being recorded and will air on Channel 8 after the meeting concludes. All right, with that, we'll take the roll call. Jeff Converse, John Cookson,
Present.
Keith Hochstein, present. Suzanne Connolly,
Present.
Mark Bushway,
Present.
Bill Silva,
Present.
Jason Orby.
Present.
Excellent. Jesse, did we have any public comment that we need to bring forward? Okay. Then we'll act on the minutes of the August 13th, 2024 meeting. Would anyone like to make any additions or deletions from the minutes? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So motion?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Well, I'll abstain.
Yes.
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 Well, me too.
Yeah.
Jason too.
That's standard operating
Okay,
procedure,
all right.
All right, we're going to go to the Director of Golf report.
All right, so we switched it up a little just to kind of break it up so we can get to the main thing. So I'll keep this short. Fiscal year 2025 is off to a good start as far as revenue goes. As you saw, we ended August up a little over 100,000 ahead of forecast. But I will note we're using 220,000 this year out of reserves to balance. I think last year was 170. This year is 220. So 220 is really the number we need to eclipse in order to make a contribution to that account. So when I say we're up 100, we're up 100, right? We're still, we need to eclipse 220 in order to actually make a contribution back to surplus. But revenue's been good. On the expense side of things, we're only 10 weeks into the fiscal year. We've already been hit with some substantial expenses that were not part of the operating budget initially. Rusted out dump truck body, some irrigation pump work here at Old Barnstable, and some mold remediation at the Hyannis Maintenance Building has already totaled over $30,000 in unanticipated expenses.
The mold is not covered by insurance?
No, this has not. This is at the Hyannis, the maintenance building.
Oh, the maintenance.
This is This is something that's we want to tackle before it gets out of hand. Needless to say, even though we're doing well relative to the forecast, we still need to be extremely cautious when it comes to spending money on things that might not be absolutely necessary. I talked last meeting about the lack of fluff, for lack of a better word, in the budget. This year is certainly no different. But courses continue to be very busy. We've already done, since July 1st, we've already done close to 30,000 rounds between the two courses. That's an average of over 420 per day. Just for kicks, I went and looked at the last 365 days worth of rounds, so September 11th of last year through today, and that number was close to 76,000. So that's an average of over 200 rounds per day, and that includes the winter. So I think it's safe to say that even with all the challenges we face, our facilities continue to be very popular. That's really all I have. Again, I wanted to keep it short so we could get to his report and the rates and fees.
Jesse, would you like to mention for the public the article in the Boston Herald?
Oh yes, there was a great, I forget what day, it was probably 10 days ago or so at this point. There was an article in the Boston Herald about basically how wonderful Old Barnstable Fairgrounds is, and it was really cool to see. We have no idea what spurred it, where it came from. It wasn't like they came down and did a piece or anything. It was just one of their columnists happened to play here and wrote a nice piece about it. And
I missed it.
I'll make sure that, you know what, I should have.
I saw it. It was very
It's on the
well done.
It's on the bulletin board upstairs.
It's on the bulletin board. We threw it on Facebook.
It's a full page.
But I'll send it out to everybody.
It's a full page article in the Boston Herald, and the lady just raved about the course, so that was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it got sent to me. Well, Mary sent it to me because someone sent it to her.
Wow.
We had no idea it had even happened.
That's
usually
great.
when those things happen, they're I don't want to say staged, but they're preempted by some kind
Yeah.
of, you know, something, so. Yeah.
That's even more of a tribute then.
Right.
Okay. Again, Jesse's going to be reporting again a little bit later, but any questions? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Nick? Oh, John, I'm sorry. I couldn't see you down there.
In the minutes, Chris said that the bids
Yep.
would go out in 4 to 5 weeks. It's been 4,
Yeah.
and I gather they haven't gone out.
They haven't gone out. I talked to him today. Said we're very close. It could be true. It could be within a week. The town architect stopped by this morning, Mark Monacchio, to look at one final thing he wasn't sure about, and I think it was one final little thing, but I believe we are probably within a week or 10 days. That's what I'm being told.
All right. Okay, golf maintenance report, James?
All right. Just like to start, finally some good news on our long-awaited equipment package for Hyannis. Mostly good news. On Friday, we've been promised delivery on both the 2 rough mowers and 2 greens mowers. Especially the rough mowers is huge. We weren't expecting those for quite a while. So that is good news. One bad piece of news from them. It's called a Pro Sweep. It picks up aeration cores.
It picks up what, James?
The aeration cores from when we
Oh.
aerate tees and fairways. It sweeps them up and puts them into a hopper.
Yeah.
Hyannis badly needs one because it's a wide machine. It's difficult to transport back and forth.
Right.
So for some reason, Toro outsourced their sweeper production to another company, and it turns out they're not even planning on starting production on these things until like next spring sometime. So going back and forth with Chris Cannell and Jesse, we've kind of flipped to a different manufacturer. We're going to go get a John Deere sweeper. It's pretty much the same machine for about the same price.
Oh, good.
And the town's going to allow us to cancel that part of the purchase order. And the good news with that is the John Deere 1 month and a half, we should have it.
Oh, it's not that long.
So you have it in time to collect this year?
It's very possible, yeah. Once we get things moving, we could have it early October, which would be great.
And when
So-
did you say the mowers were coming?
Friday.
Friday.
Friday. Yep. It's almost Friday.
Can the sweeper do things other than picking up the aeration core?
No, it's a very specific piece of
Specific,
equipment.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it does, but
All right, just wondering.
it's pretty critical to
Yeah.
our practices. The
Absolutely.
one they had it might have even been 25 years old. It fell apart, so. And with our transportation difficulties right now with not having a truck, I've been coordinating a lot with DPW just when we need to move equipment.
Oh,
And
good.
this particular piece doesn't even really fit. I mean, it's an offset machine, so that basically it's just really difficult to get it on the trailer.
Wow.
Can it pick up the droppings from our friends from Canada?
I probably could.
They're the
Yeah.
same size.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
There's a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
There certainly is.
Yes. Yeah. But so finally, some good news on the equipment package front.
Yes, it's great.
Moving on, weather's been incredible. Lots of recovery on our trouble spots in those fairways. We overseeded at both courses. Almost every fairway at Hyannis got some seed. A little bit less here. And we put out another round of fertilizer today at Hyannis and tomorrow at Old Barnstable to try to kick those seedlings in. It was nice to see some recovery and just a complete opposite of last year. I mean, what a bonus to have in August with, just wasn't that much humidity. It was great.
Right, great.
So the turf is very happy. That being said, the root growth on the greens isn't wonderful. It's still up in the air right now. Me and Chris have to decide what we're doing for our mid-October aeration. the roots are a little shallow. They probably can't handle our deep tine machine. We might have to do a more traditional punch with heavy top dressing. But we have about a month to hopefully get some good root growth, and hopefully the weather continues to help us with that. Lastly, I'm pretty much wrapped up with the Audubon stuff on my end for Old Barnstable. I was kind of waiting on a water report for our groundwater. It came back very favorable. I was testing for pesticides, nitrates, all that stuff. Looks great. I'm going to submit it all, and then for the Old Barnstable portion of that, it's basically just waiting on them to come down and check everything. Hyannis, that's going to be more of my winter project this year, but it should go much faster. It's going to be very similar. It's just because it's a different property, I didn't want to tackle them both at the same time. So, but I anticipate I should be able to get that done a lot quicker now that I've been through it once.
Once it's awarded, I'm sure there'll be great publicity.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I just think it'd be great to go to town council and announce it. You know, it's just, I think it's such a cool thing. I understand that it's not 100% organic, but you guys have done such great work getting rid of the real poison stuff, and making it an Audubon golf course is awesome.
That's definitely something we could keep in mind.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. That's pretty much all I had. Any questions or comments?
You have, I think I may have asked you, James, but do you have plans to use those posted rail fences on other holes at Old Barnstable? Because, for instance, number 13 looks much better right along the pathway there. It just does so much more. And the tee box on 3 looks a lot better, even though it is weed mixed with. I know you can't do anything about that, but it just looks better.
Yes.
And for instance, I don't know about you thinking about around the forward tee boxes on 14, like that's pretty much just dry ground right through there as you make that turn from the 13th green.
Oh, extending it a little further.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably could use it
that
for
would
more
be a
sections.
great spot. Again, those are kinds of areas. I've actually talked to some people because the course looks so good. If you were to compare Old Barnstable and Hyannis, of course, with private courses, what is the difference? And basically what they say are those off areas, like the areas you've been improving with the use of the post and rail fences. You know, if you paid $25,000 for your fee, then you get grass everywhere, you know. But those things have looked great.
I mean, at some point, we need to do some serious tree work first, but the left of 4 green here is, I mean, you missed your ball left there. The trees have to come down first.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That will probably be a candidate once we do that
all right, that's
for a little
interesting.
bit of fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
There used to be one there years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers that. There used to be a lot more fence here. 15 had a fence all the way down the whole hole. 4 had a fence all the way down the whole hole.
15, okay.
6 green had fence on the right. 7T had fence. I mean, there was fence everywhere. There was fence all around the clubhouse. We ended up taking it all out due to it all rotted away, and at the time, lack of money to replace it and lack of labor just to keep up with all the weed whacking.
Okay.
So it was,
All right.
but
Any other comments or questions for James? All right, then we'll get to what is probably the meat of the meeting
I don't know
tonight.
what private club you're joining for 25 grand either.
Yeah, I know, I was just gonna
talking
say.
about-
Quick's the cheapest
Could you
I
let
know,
them
and it's
know?
40.
What, is that the annual?
Oh, no,
I was referring just to the
upfront.
annual.
Oh, stop.
That's what you have to pay in the restaurant.
All right, I'm not gonna soapbox this thing. I mean, I sent you my thoughts. I wasn't trying to be doom and gloom at all. I hope it wasn't taken that way. I just wanted to put it out there that I think, you know, with a lot of it are his needs. we're kind of at a crossroads here, and maybe not so much for this coming calendar year because of the clubhouse situation. We obviously can't justify going up that much. Having said that, I've had people say to me that, well, without a clubhouse, shouldn't you, you shouldn't go up at all, or you should almost reduce the price. Not having a clubhouse doesn't reduce our expenses. It costs what it costs to run the golf course. So the clubhouse is kind of, I'm going to compartmentalize that a little bit. But I'm talking more long term over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think a discussion needs to be had about what is the priority. Is the priority discounts for residents? Is it access for members? And or is it investing in the club and in the facilities and making improvements that are going to set us up for years to come? Because they don't, in the Venn diagram of all that, those three things, they just don't go together. I mean, we're now at 1.5 in our surplus. Finance Director Milne wants us at half of our operating budget, which would be like 2.3. So we're $800,000 away from even being where he wants us to, where we could start chiseling away at that. So last year we contributed $150,000, and it was considered a successful year because, again, our mandate, our charge is to simply cover expenses, be self-sufficient as an enterprise fund, which we have been, but we're not generating the revenue that it takes to really address a lot of these issues that are staring James in the eye with irrigation. And I mean, the dump course at Bayberry, the links course, they just redid all the irrigation and bunkers there. It was $2.6 million for 9 holes. Mm. We have 36 holes in need of irrigation upgrades. So I'm not going to preach. I want to hear your thoughts. And I understand that's different. We can kind of, I shouldn't have buried the lead. I guess we should really talk more rates and fees rather than conceptual stuff. So I should have started with that. I apologize. So I guess let's start with that, because that's what we're going to have to vote on this at the next meeting, October 8th, because I think this is due to the town manager. Basically that next morning I'm going to have to send it, because I think like the 12th is the deadline for rates and fees to the town manager for any changes. Because again, he has final say at the end of the day, but your endorsement goes a long way. So I don't know where you want to start, what you want to do. I'm all ears. These, the $60 was basically a 5% increase. We didn't go up last year, so call it 2.5 over the last 2 years, which I think is right where you'd expect us to be. You see the proposed increase in revenue at $162,000. Well, we're pulling $220 out of surplus just to balance the budget, so that $162,000 basically just keeps us, which again,
flat line. That's
been our charge. Like flat isn't necessarily, as an enterprise fund, that's what we're supposed to do, cover our expenses. Mm-hmm. But
shouldn't you also be putting money aside, though, to cover these expenses that are staring you in the face?
I mean, sure, but we can't. There is no money to be put aside
under the current structure.
Right.
Can we talk debt service for a moment?
Yeah.
Where are we with paying off that?
Debt service, this is the last year.
So fiscal year 25?
Correct. So as of July 1st, 2026, no more debt service on the land. Well, there's equipment.
Yeah.
That we'll always have that.
But that's like kind of run-of-the-mill debt service.
It's a car lease. You get done, you turn it in, you get the new model.
That's not like buying a course.
Right, right.
So I think that has to be factored into the equation. I think you probably have heard me say a few times that I think any rate increase that's commensurate with inflation makes sense to me.
Sure.
I don't know how else to argue it.
But that just keeps up with expenses, that's all that does.
Well then.
Because our expenses are going up at least 5% also.
Inflation plus need should be the equation then. What you need to make yourself more consistently viable in terms of giving back to your...
But the price is only half of that. And I know nobody in this room wants to hear it.
Say it again.
The price that we charge for memberships is only half of that. And nobody wants to talk about the other part of it, which is we reserve half the T-sheet for members. No other multi-course enterprise fund on Cape does that. And I referenced that already. So if access is a priority, okay, there needs to be a relinquishment on the other side of things.
Well, if you cut it to 40%, what's the revenue shift?
6 figures. Yeah.
What if you did 25 at Hyannis, kept Old Barney at 50? What would that do?
Nothing. It would be the other way around.
The real money's here.
Correct.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
expected.
No,
the
no,
answer
no.
to be.
That would not be. No. I would
So
maybe
Old
go.
Barney is the-
I'd maybe go 60-40 here and 40-60 Hyannis
Yeah.
to keep it 50-50. But again, I understand that the general consensus would be the members want to play all their golf, or the majority of their golf here. The majority of the members, I get that. There are plenty of members who actually prefer Hyannis, but they're in minority. I mean, we could keep the total amount of tee times available that day at 50-50 by, you know, by going 60-40 here public and 60-40 there members. But, you know, I mean, it's just, it's that has nothing to do with rates and fees. You know, it's funny that, you know, the rates and fees have to get approved by a town manager, but the tee time allocations, that's a whole separate, that's up to you, I would think.
That's up to you.
Well, but
You're
okay,
the
but
manager.
I wouldn't just
Yeah,
do it
no.
without this happening.
You know, to me, I don't even bother trying to play on the weekends anymore. And I always play in the various championships and tournaments because that gives me tee times, great tee
Guaranteed tee
times.
time.
And I don't know how to promote that idea more, that members could feel more access if they took advantage of a lot of the programming that you guys put in place over the
tournaments.
winter.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you can play much more golf that way. I've just
5 club championships, 4 members. 4
that's a
member
lot of
guests.
golf over the course of a
Yeah.
summer, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe that, we could think about that as well, and maybe, you know, weekends could be more reserved for guests, I don't know. But I do hate the idea of, you know, cutting back at all.
Of
on
course.
Barnstable residents' access to their recreational program.
Well, we don't reserve, keep in mind, we don't reserve tee times for residents. We reserve tee times for members.
Oh, that's true,
You know
sorry,
what I
I
mean?
misspoke.
We give
Yeah.
discounts to residents.
Yeah.
We preserve access for members.
Right,
There's
right.
no such thing as a resident tee time.
Right.
And people get confused with that a lot.
And, right, I'm sorry, I misspoke,
yeah.
but, members, I should say members,
Right.
but, just a
And
thought.
I'm fine using the word members for the record.
Yeah, just a thought.
So
And
we
I-
can
go ahead.
book, 7 days in advance? You can book a tee time?
No, the Chelsea, you can put in a request,
Put a
3 to
request
10.
in.
3 to 10.
3 to 10, and then within 3 you can book any member time that's still open, and then at 7 o'clock the night before
Right.
you can book any time.
Right.
But vice versa, public can book in a member time 7 o'clock the night before.
Just wondering if you had different rules for members as far as booking tee times.
Yeah.
More liberal
Oh,
times available 2 weeks in advance. I'm just throwing out 10 days in advance. Where if you
Still
wanted to
using
play
the
on the
point
weekend.
system? Still using the point system with Chelsea?
that no one understands.
Yeah, but no one, yeah.
Well,
What I'm
Just
suggesting,
saying, just saying.
and I don't know if it's a good suggestion or not.
yeah.
You eliminate the 50-50, but you give members more liberal access to make the tee
No, it'll be
times.
100% members.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'd make
Yeah.
no money.
yeah.
Or the other side, if there's a reason that the big block of members is in the beginning. Public typically doesn't want to play at 6:30 a.m. The members do, and frankly, a lot of times we don't really want public out there at 6:30 a.m.
Too slow.
Right. You know, so I mean,
They still offer the if you need to play under a certain amount of time to play before 8,
right.
and make it a
Right.
premium charge.
I can raise that. I don't know. I think we've talked about that.
It's an equal access thing. It's a
No,
membership
you're right.
option.
You're right. Yeah. Captains has something similar to
Yeah,
that.
you pay a premium if
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
premium slots.
Yeah.
And it's not differential to the public because anyone can invest in the premium.
Right.
You're buying access to the reserve slots.
What is the membership for the people, like the members that want to play early would pay a premium
Yeah,
in their
so
membership?
in the proposed thing here, it's $12.95 for membership. But if you want access to the premium tee times, it's an extra $2.50 for the season, and that
Yeah.
gets you the 6 to 7:30 block. But it doesn't guarantee you a slot; it just gets you access to the 6-7.
I mean,
And then you still have the rule that less than 3 days out, anyone can book it.
Sure,
Night before, everyone can book it.
and don't hate it.
Well, it's a way to, I mean,
Yeah.
I can tell you there's probably 400 members that would pay the extra. That's like 10 grand. I know them all. They all play with 6, 7, 5.
100 grand.
10 grand. Yeah, 400 times 250.
I love 6:30 in the morning. It's just an awesome
10 grand?
time to play golf.
Sounds right, we'll go with it.
Sure. That can be raised, for
If
sure.
you're looking for innovative ways to do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I don't want.
Without making it more restrictive for members to get access, that's really the big thing.
Yeah,
And I don't want to do that. I just, we need to decide what model we're going for. Because
I know.
people go to Bayberry and they say, wow, this place is unbelievable. Okay, good luck getting a tee time if you're a member there.
I know every member knows this is the best deal in like
Yeah.
60 miles.
Because
Exactly.
because we prioritize access
yeah,
and resident discounts.
Yeah.
Not that one has anything to do with the other,
yeah,
but, right.
yeah.
Bayberry, Yarmouth doesn't discount for residents because they're an enterprise fund. They don't get tax money. So why would they? That's their mindset.
Yeah. So before you've given us a chart showing all the munis on the
It's on
Cape. I didn't get, I mean.
Oh, I just did, I'm sorry, I didn't do membership rates.
Yeah, I'd love to see if there's been a change in that, because it looked like we were pretty par with other courses the last time you did that. Maybe an
Yeah.
update would be interesting
Okay.
for us. But I like that idea. I like Jason's idea a lot. I don't know how much money that would make for you. I think we have to, I don't know. I'd like to see that chart because I honestly think memberships.
No, it is 100 grand.
Huh? It's 100 grand?
Yeah.
That's
400
pretty
members
good.
at 250 bucks. 100 grand.
I mean, your typical.
That helps you
club
balance
has
the budget.
only
Yeah.
4, Yeah.
Yeah.
For those people that go for that premium, you might throw in range access.
No, they're already going to pay the range.
How do you, could you measure the difference it makes in getting at those tee times? You know what I mean? Like, you might have members that pay the extra $250 and be like, geez, I don't notice any difference. I'm still not getting that early tee time or something.
Well, it's going to have to be a rule within Chelsea on the preference.
It would have to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I assume Chelsea is capable of that. I don't know.
For outsiders, do you have a day and time differential?
Meaning?
Well, some tee times are more expensive than others.
Oh, well, sure, that's all in the rate. That's all in
there.
here. There's an after 1 o'clock, and then there's a twilight, so there's 3 rates per day.
3,
Yeah.
okay,
Right, up
All right.
until 1, and then twilight.
got it.
Yeah, so, yeah. And then, I mean, that's in season. Once we get into like October, it pretty much just goes, you know, the regular rate,
Yeah,
and then
there's
it's
no
twilight.
twilight,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So,
1 o'clock is twilight.
what is the suggestion again?
The what?
What is the suggestion again?
Charge an extra X amount if you want access to the first block of times.
Yeah, Captain's has an early,
Right.
and then they have
So if you just paid the regular
The
rate,
first block of
member
non-mem-
times.
a
Member times.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
instead of
7 days a week
1,300,
or
you
just
pay- you pay
weekends?
15 something.
I would do it on weekends.
Just weekends?
I think it would really only matter on the
Yeah,
weekends.
during the week.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
No. I don't think the town would look at that as being exclusionary or anything.
Anyone can opt in.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
an
again,
option.
Captain's does it. They have, what is it before? It's like before 9 or something, or
Yeah,
I forget what. Yeah.
it's a pretty good bump.
And you can't get a tee time at Captain's.
Now, if you're a non-resident early, it's $2,300 a year.
Really.
Right.
Wow.
And they're not 50-50. They're what, 37%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One course is 50-50 each week, and the other one is only 75-25 towards the public.
And it's always full.
Yeah. It's a great facility. I mean, it's well
beautiful.
designed. It's,
I start playing there in like 3 weeks.
you know, oh, recepts, yeah.
I like that idea, Jason. But I also think you should consider a general across-the-board increase that helps.
Oh, I already
Catch
assumed,
up with
I
it.
was using the new number.
Yeah, all right, okay, all right.
Yeah, over that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
already
yeah.
using the
Oh, yeah.
12.95.
Well, I mean, that $12.95 could be $13.50.
Mhm.
I did 5% just because it was a nice vanilla number that
Yeah.
seemed to fit into
Yeah,
what
Captain's
people
for
would
24
expect.
is $13.80.
1380,
Captain's for town residents this year.
Yeah, with less access.
okay,
Yeah.
well, that's why I wanna see that chart.
Right.
Not just captains either. See what the others are
And
doing.
this is the time of year I try to reach out to the other directors and say, what do you think? But they're on the same boat as me. We don't know yet. You know, here's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
pitch, but we
Yeah,
have.
the reason why I keep using captains is
I
they're
can give you
2 courses
2024.
Yeah,
about the same skill level, about the same
yeah,
condition. So
Right.
it's probably the most parallel
Yeah.
case.
But lower maintenance costs, just having all 36,
Yeah.
lower
100%.
overhead.
But I
because
wouldn't.
of
I
having
don't.
all
I don't
36
consider
on
the
site.
Dennis or the Yarmouth courses on par. That's why I was using captains.
Yeah, yeah.
Port and starboard are closer to
They're
the
probably not paying for that organic fertilizer either.
Yeah.
boy, that stuff
You're
stinks.
using all the chemicals.
I smelled it today at Hyannis.
So James, they're using one big maintenance package for that, right? So they don't have to run 2 of everything.
Yeah. And when and in the shoulder seasons, the off season, they can have one person working in the pro shop,
Oh, yeah.
one person doing carts,
Yeah.
where we have to double everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think about just the staffing being miles away. So, yeah, it's probably not much, but it's 5 figures worth of staff that they can save having one location, one pro shop.
Jesse, I have a couple of things. First of all, in terms of the rates, the family
Yes.
rate this year is $2,100, which of course means that it's $1,050 per person for a husband and wife.
Sure.
Okay? To raise it to $1,295 would be a $490 increase. Most of the people I play with are husbands and wives. That would be a $490.
No.
Yes.
You'd pay $1,295,
No.
and the other person would pay $895.
Oh, where is that? In
So this is what we used to do.
oh,
we only,
$1,295?
we only introduced the
Oh,
family
okay.
membership in 2019. Before that, this is how it always was.
Okay.
The first person pays full rate, and each additional household member, that's an
Okay.
adult, that's not in an age-related range, discounted range, pays that. And the reason we want to go back to that is we've had some situations where, okay, adult couple, say in their 60s, their 4 adult sons are living with them. They want a family membership.
Right.
Now 6 people, all adults, are trying to get the $2,100.
That's a deal.
You think? Less than 400 a piece for. So now those adult live-in children will still get a discount, a substantial discount, $400, but they're each paying.
Okay.
So that's
All
why
right.
we want to go back to that.
And that's why you're not forecasting a ton of revenue, just a little. One says 2,200, and the other one says like.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It's not a crazy amount. I think 9,500 total for the whole. Yeah. Oh, and then for the non-resident, So we're talking 11 grand. It's nothing crazy, but
Okay.
that's why we want to go back to that because now there's more. Because of what's going on in the world, there's more and
Right.
more.
Children living
Yes,
with their parents.
yes, and it's causing, and we try to say, whoa, it's meant to be 2 spouses and kids under 18, but let's just eliminate that, conversation. You're still getting a good discount. You're only paying $895 for 2 courses.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
The other thing is that, and I'm really addressing this to my fellow golf committee members, we really need to set aside an agenda item at a future meeting regarding this idea of whether or not we're going to reduce the times for pass holders. First of all, right off the top of my head, if we were to do that, I don't think it would go well to do both that and have a rate increase in the same year. And secondly, in terms of reducing the amount of time for the pass holders, I think we would have to become a little more specific about what we are going to do with that money. It's one thing, Jesse, for you to say we need a new aeration system, we need this, we need that, we need this piece of equipment. The average member knows that our surplus and our account is $1.5 million or whatever it is, And they say, why do we have to reduce times when we have all this money in our reserve account? So I personally believe that there would have to be some specific allocations for that money. Because at the last meeting, we mentioned to Chris that there really haven't been major improvements in either course in many, many years. Yes, he did mention the cart paths at Hyannis. And that's certainly a legitimate improvement.
4 new forward tees.
But the forward tees are not a major financial burden. And
No.
so to reduce the amount of tee times for pass holders based upon things like forward tees that James did, I don't think holds water. I, for one, would like to see the town begin to give us some hard information, not just about the clubhouse, but about, yes, we're definitely going to improve the bunkers. Yes, we're definitely going to improve the bunkers at both courses. And that is really the number one item, and John and I talked about it at the last meeting. And so, to me, just saying that we're going to reduce the times without giving specific examples is something that I am not in favor of. Unless we are able to say, yes, this money is going to go for this, rather than just some general kind of improvement. James needs new equipment, we all know that, but that doesn't really hold a lot of water.
Sure.
So again, talking to the committee here, we need to think about things like this, and at a future meeting, devote perhaps the whole agenda, or at least most of it, to this particular item, because as Jesse said, we're really talking about 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And secondly, as far as tonight goes, we have to give this gentleman, a hard recommendation so that he can come back next week with something that maybe we could tweak a little bit, but essentially what he comes back, not next week, next month, what he comes back with is going to go to the town manager. So there's 2 different things there that I've been talking to you about.
Yeah, and Jesse, based on the language, I'd find a way to make your assumed revenue increase about 275.
That wouldn't be too crazy to get there.
No, you're at 162.
Right. Yeah.
But that puts you slightly over borrowing money.
Yep.
And puts us on the path
Yep.
with mistakes or unplanned expenses to break even.
Yeah.
Assuming you stay on revenue plan.
Right.
And
I think
at some point, Hyannis is not going to stay on revenue plan.
Right.
Even with, I know you're shorting Hyannis, I've been watching the budget.
Correct.
But that,
I'm being
Hyannis
conservative.
is going
Yeah.
to come back and hurt us at some point.
Well, it already is to a point.
Unless you go 60-40, 40-60 and push the members to Hyannis and
Right,
then.
which I know nobody wants to hear, and I know this whole reducing, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just giving it as an option. And as far as, we have 1.5 million, we have all this money, again, I've said it a million times, the finance department wants us at half of our budgets.
You're right.
That 1.5 million might as well be zero.
You're minus 800 right now.
Correct, when it comes to peeling money off to pay for things, until we get to half of our budget, it might as well be zero. It's emergency fund,
But again, what happens when there is an emergency, like we were told last month, is that there's going to be a bond, and we're going to have to pay the interest every single month.
right.
In the principal.
So we're going to have to pay $11,000 a month, and that's the way it's going to be. And we're just told that, and that's the way it is. I completely understand it.
Yeah. I'm told that along with you.
I know, but
Yeah.
then why are we reducing tee times? Because what good does that do for the average golfer?
It
You have the best deal
Yeah, it
in,
builds up
in
our reserves.
essentially the tri-state area.
Good.
Right.
We want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But financially,
you don't wanna pay for
financially,
it.
what we're asking for is a 5% fee increase. When from the last time till now, your average COLA increase was about 11%.
Over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So you are less than half of what it should grow based on spending power.
So do I,
I'm not opposed to this 5% increase.
No, I'm saying we can't push both sides and
Right.
not have a 5-year reinvestment plan.
That was the whole
I
point of my
agree
email.
with your point of what is missing is for those on TV did not know that there was a subjective email that came out that said, hey, as we're planning the 25 fees plan, there are some significant reinvestments that need to be made that are not part of the capital plan today and are outside of the Hyannis clubhouse
Yes.
expenditures. And that is, the biggest one you've mentioned 3 times is irrigation.
Yes,
Between the 2 courses, it's probably $3 million.
way more. 2.6 for 9 holes.
Yeah, but
8 or 10.
you think it's 8 to 10 million? It's
To
like
do
buying,
both
it's
courses.
like rebuying the course.
To do
That
both
was-
courses.
To do bunkers and irrigation.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
everything.
So yeah. And I know that all the golfers want to talk about is bunkers,
Yeah,
but if the irrigation system goes,
the whole course
bunkers
is
don't
fine.
matter anymore. You don't have grass to play on. You know.
And that is
So-
probably a $200,000 a month payment plan.
Yeah. So what does the golfer get? You know, what the golfer gets is we're building our reserves to be able to make these improvements we want. And that's all I'm trying to say is we can't prioritize access and make all these great improvements. They don't go together. They just
Well,
don't.
again, I think it's a topic
Yeah.
that we need to put on the agenda.
And I'm fine with the status quo. If you say we want to preserve our access and discounts, okay, understand what that means.
Yeah, but Jesse, your expenses, your normal expenses are growing 200,000 plus a year. Your reserve, 800,000, we're borrowing another 200,000. So now we're $1 million short before Mark Milne will let us spend anything on the course, okay?
In theory, yes.
In
Yeah.
theory. Last meeting, because the insurance settlement is not gonna be 2.4 million, it's gonna be
Right.
1 million whatever.
Yeah.
So the golfers are gonna now have to pay for the bond and of the interest, the 20-year bond, it's gonna be 100 and something a year. So you add on in another year or two, you're gonna add on another, say, 130, 150.
Right.
So you're short on regular expenses, you're short on the reserve, you're short on the bond that we're gonna have to pay for. 162 is woefully inadequate to pay for any of this. And you're, just getting into more trouble. You gotta face with the music. Everybody, Jason just said it, we have the greatest deal, and everybody admits, you go on the course and you talk to everybody and they say, boy, this is a fantastic deal. But nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's the point.
I'm glad you're saying this.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I
Yeah.
think 162.
we're treading water. We're treading water. At this increase
Yeah.
is just,
I think it's gotta be, I mean, Jason said,
Right.
it's gotta be 275 or.
and that's always, that's the methodology that I inherited, for lack of a better, was cover your expenses. If you're an enterprise fund, cover your expenses. If you net $1 at the end of the year, it was a successful year. Okay, but that doesn't get us where we need to be long term. And all the years of deferred maintenance, and it's nobody's fault. There was just, the money was never there. The deferred maintenance is, it's rearing its head now, and it's where, and I'm not saying right now, it's we're, I mean, James is, when we talk irrigation, we're talking the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that we need to address. I mean, it's not like things are failing as we speak.
Well, before the pandemic, you didn't have,
We had 600,000 surplus at in 2019.
you didn't have as many people golfing as well.
That's true.
Access wasn't a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to have access be the biggest problem. It's a great problem to have. But I mean, I'm glad you're saying this. I have no problem tweaking this to get us to, to get us to a number that's at least more than we're borrowing, like you said, out of surplus. You know,
That would be prudent.
right? And will there be outcry? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, at the end of the day,
I mean, if you go up 1%, there'll be,
right, right, and yeah. I mean, even at 1,400 for
Yeah.
2 golf courses.
Yeah, to Keith's point though.
$120 a month for 2 golf courses.
If you raise the rates for members and then say, and oh, by the way, you're going to have access to fewer tee times, that's a really hard sell.
Sure.
Um,
I'm not advocating
I
for
wouldn't do
both.
that.
right,
No,
you
I
can't
would
do that,
both, but I would make it net 50-50.
That was talked
I
about.
would move the
when we-
reservations around so that we maximize revenue.
yeah.
Until the clubhouse is done, I would make all the members play at Hyannis and bring all the cash
Oh,
here.
jeez.
No, but I'm talking about from a load. I would put more.
We would kill it.
I would go 55.
We would do so much more revenue
Yeah.
if we opened up
If
2
you went
times here
55, 45 and swap the
The
two and push
public
more
will
members
pay
that way.
$110 around to play this place all day
Fine,
long.
charge them that, but moving people to Hyannis is not.
No, but if you go from 50-50 to 55-45 each, it's probably another 100 grand.
Right. And
you
it
take
might
5%
affect
of
the
the
average person 2 or 3 times throughout the
Yeah,
year.
it's not going to kill you.
You don't cut off access to Old Barney for members. That's not what you're
By
That is-
5%.
That is what he's saying.
Oh, by 5.
So the T-sheets here would be 55% public. The
Yeah.
T-sheets at Hyannis would be 55% members. So on the whole, you still have 50% of the available times. It's just that a little more of them are at Hyannis.
But we get double the fee here on that extra percentage.
Yeah. You know.
I would look at the
I mean-
math. Do the math and see what it comes out to.
Sure.
That's a good way.
Can I just make a kind of general observation though?
I'd
The
rather do
public
your
does
first
not
idea.
understand
do both.
the reserves concept.
You need to
Because
start
I've had
promoting.
so many members say to me, why can't they build, fix the bunkers, cause they have $2 million, and they don't understand,
Yeah.
so to me, there has to be some sort of education about what the courses are facing in terms of needing to deal with this issue of deferred maintenance. Public needs to understand why the reserves are there. We don't have a choice about putting money into the
Yeah.
reserves. That's something
Right.
the finance department insists upon, and we
I do
can't.
not have a key to that safe.
And you don't have the key to the safe,
No.
but people need to understand that.
Right.
I am gonna advocate for rate increases, for members and the public. Because if you tell people we're just jacking up your, the
Oh, we went
cost
up-
to be a
we went up
member,
on the public.
I understand. But, make sure that people know that the public is paying more and you are, if you are paying more.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I was told is we need to have 6 months worth of, because we have contractually obligated expenses,
Yep,
union employees,
yep,
debt service on equipment.
Yeah.
If a hurricane wiped out both golf courses, we need 6 months worth of rainy day money.
Yeah.
And that's how it was pitched to me, and I understand that.
Well, I like
But that's
it.
why, but when
Yeah.
when you hear, you have $1.5 million in the bank.
well, when there was 2 something in the bank, people were really freaking out about bunkers and why can't we fix them with that?
And I was
But-
kind of one of them. I said to him, I remember saying to my boss, we're not a bank, we're a golf course. Why do we need, I was saying the same thing.
Yeah,
And then I was educated
and then
in,
something hit
in
the
the
fan
philosophy.
in a couple of winters ago,
Do-
right?
Do
But
we
it-
have a 5-year strategy?
We're actually, me, James, Chris White, and Chris Canella are working on that right now.
Because I think,
To-
to your point, Susan, that's what the members need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is,
yeah.
hey, we do have this much money. We need
Yeah.
to get to this much money.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're also going to spend to do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not a blank checkbook to use.
Right.
This is carrying for disaster.
Yeah.
And we're going to
Yeah.
invest all of this.
We
But to
are-
get there, we have to do all
We
of
have to
these
do
things.
this.
We are working on that. That will be submitted next year. A 5-year plan for bunkers and irrigations at both courses. It might get laughed at. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, but from
shows the need.
a marketing plan, it's the members that I'm talking about, not to the town.
Yeah.
Here's where we are. You do that whole
Okay.
write-up you do that goes in the booklet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
the
I think you do
yeah,
most of it.
yeah.
But the beautification project, what we're working on, you're talking about 2 infrastructure items in the bunkers and the
And
irrigation
car
system.
paths here pretty soon. Too.
Carpets here,
Yeah.
but there's also other things that James and team have been doing, the rail systems, like beautifying the course,
Yeah.
investing in the things, the ways that the membership cares of how it looks needs to be part of that whole story. Is changing this, changing that. Eventually there'll probably be a cart barn. There's other changes. Like there's other things that are going on.
We have a lot of expenses that people don't see.
Over the 5 years, this is how we are modernizing, making it ready, getting it ready to be the next generation.
It's
but
a
it's
PR
going to take.
approach, right? You're talking a PR
It's a
approach.
pure PR story.
Yeah.
Because if you just talk the math, everyone looks at 1.5, 2 million. It's going to cost this.
Right.
The number that I thought it was 3 million, but you're talking 3 million, of course. The number's going to scale everyone. It's going to $10 million between the bunkers and the irrigation
It will
system.
only escalate over 5 years. But you know, I
It's
remember.
going up when they start the bridge. It'll be like 20.
Yeah, it's so sad that we lost that big meeting room at Hyannis because you were planning to have a membership
Correct.
meeting.
And we could maybe pull it off here.
You could pull it off here with a lot of, lecture style seating or somewhere else in town.
We'll have 2 meetings.
But also Zoom it
sure.
live. Zoom it live, have 2 meetings, just getting folks together on board with this, and I think, I don't know, I think it will go down a lot easier, to Keith's point, to understand what you're facing.
James, how much extra do we spend on material? Organic material versus non-organic material?
It's significant.
This is mandated by the town, and it's
mostly the fertilizer. It's not necessarily the cost of the bag is a lot more expensive. In some cases, it's actually cheaper. The problem is I need a lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more.
And your
4
labor's
times
higher.
more, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
We actually just did a captains in Yarmouth kind of divulged what they spend on fertilizer, but they're using synthetics.
Right.
And I think the numbers are fairly similar, if I remember.
Right.
Correct.
Right. But we have to buy way more, and it's frankly it's less effective.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Another thought, this has been such an excellent discussion, I feel like I've learned more than I have in a long time about what we're facing financially. Sharing this link with the members, the link of this video with the members might be a way to bring them in and to help them understand what you're facing in terms of a long-term financial strategy, and where you want to be in 5 years with things fixed up. And just helping people understand the reserve and so forth. I don't know, just getting more out there.
No, I love I want to educate people. Not that it's just to. How do I say this? Not that it's a cop out, but I want to educate people so they know
Yeah, then people
Yeah,
are smart.
what we're up against.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having a 5-year plan to show everybody would be excellent. 'Cause
Yeah.
I went away from last month's meeting, and what I got from Chris Ganella was that the bunkers, the only way that we're gonna pay for the bunkers is have CPC do it.
We had a long, should we get into that part of the meeting? We had a long meeting, James, I, and the 2 Chris's, about, because CPC's been paying the note for the last 4 or 5 years, we know that. So how do we keep them supporting us once that note's gone?
Yeah.
And what we kind of thought of, or collectively, I guess, was if we pitch them with the idea that we are going to reconfigure the irrigation system at Hyannis to where we're going to have a lot more naturalized areas, which a lot of courses are doing now,
Yeah.
to save on maintenance, save on maintenance costs, cut down water usage, all these beautiful things.
Be more eco-friendly.
Correct. So there's going to be you might have a regular bit of rough, but then it's going to be kind of thin, wispy fescue.
Oh, great.
It's not right. I know we have to think, and that was where
Scoring's going up.
I'm sitting there in this meeting going, hey, we have to think about playability. We can't have 6-hour rounds of people looking for the right. But if we pitch them with a double row, do you want to take over or should I?
Yeah, a more basically efficient irrigation system, where we don't necessarily need to upgrade and put in a massive pump house over there. We can still get away with the 1 pump. There's a lot of unnecessary irrigation over there, which
Rough
is part of
heads.
the reason why it starts at.
Why are we irrigating
3 in the
rough that's
afternoon.
30 feet off the fairway?
Yeah.
So
right.
it would be kind of, right now it's kind of single row down the middle, then you have all these offshoots that are in the rough. What we would pitch is double row, so down the left third of the fairway, down the right third of the fairway. And whatever rough those touch and irrigate, so be it. That rough, okay? Anything else is going to be that dry, heavy. I mean, there's a lot of, it's funny. Look at Pinehurst. That's what I'm talking. I mean,
Yeah.
crazy analogy, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is that, you know?
Are you gonna get the greens to a 17?
No, thank you. We're talking about pace of play.
Yeah.
But like, anybody play Cape Cod Country Club? I love Cape Cod Country Club. It's that kind of vibe.
Right.
So we were gonna pitch. So now this is what, like a 40% water reduced. You know, less water.
A lot less water.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Protecting-
pitch.
We're protecting the water.
Right.
So to get them on board with,
So now,
Helping us.
if we could pitch that to them, and Chris Cannell is confident that they would at least sit down at the table about, hey, help us do this, and let's say that's $250,000 a year for, you know, to do that for the next.
Right.
Okay, they were committing, they were paying that anyway. They're paying more. So, you know, we redo the irrigation. Now we have cost savings on our end that we can pivot to this place
Yes.
and fancy this place up more because.
But to me, this is part of that 5-year plan.
Yes,
Here's our
yes.
here's what it would look like. Here's a strategy.
Yes.
And it
So
unfortunately
Hyannis-
it has a lot of graphics to it.
So
Here's what
Hyannis-
the holes would look like. Here's what
Right.
it
And
changes.
so we've gone as far as to talk about putting in a decision package this year, which is due in December, to have an architect come out, because I'm a dumb golf pro, I don't want to, you know, design this stuff. James is confident, but we want, you know, somebody to come out and say, here's what you really want. So we would pay this person, who knows what. That money would become available July 1st. We would get them out here immediately and then put in a CIP, which is typically due in November,
November, yeah.
for 2026 to say, hey, here's what we want to do.
You know what this dovetails with? The Audubon designation.
Yep.
Think about that, and I talked about publicity for that Audubon designation. You could say, look, we've become
Saving.
an Audubon course at Old Barney, we want to do it at Hyannis. We're gonna build courses that have much more natural,
The water usage.
the water
alone,
usage is gonna go.
Yeah.
Do you know how much,
Double down
how
on your
happy
road.
Mark Els would be to hear you're gonna use
Yeah.
a lot less water?
Yeah.
And
the
then
town bought the course originally to protect the.
Yeah, to protect the
So-
aquifer, yeah.
You know, I don't want this to turn into, well, why are you just focusing on Hyannis? Well, we're focusing on Hyannis in this regard so that savings can be, because we all know Barnstable is subsidizing Hyannis. I mean,
Yeah, but the water
know.
table's pretty high here too, wouldn't you agree? Or is it just?
Hyannis is on the aquifer though.
Yeah,
right?
they're on, they're
Yeah.
zone too, they are, there's a pumping station right off
You
the
know,
60.
That's
know-
all wellhead protection
You know the
zone
7th
around,
tee
yeah.
box?
What?
It's not our land, yeah.
7th tee box is actually owned
No,
by
I
the town of
know, that,
Barnstable.
yeah, that's
Right.
all what wellhead protection, it's all.
If you turn around and hit it
7.
about an 8-iron off that back
Yeah,
tee, you're
you're
gonna get to the water.
Yeah,
So if he was able to save X amount of money in labor, because we're not mowing rough 3 times a week.
Right.
We're not doing all, you know, that money now is here.
I really love this idea.
And this is the 5-year strategy.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
really
then
love
we,
this.
you know, so I mean, just how many hours, 20 hours a week worth of rough mowing?
It would be a lot less labor.
You know, yeah, so that's
Less on,
that's $1,000 a week probably
Less.
in labor.
It's a
less
head
equipment packages,
Yeah.
less on equipment packages.
Right. You don't, yeah, these rough mowers, forget rough mowers,
Yeah, right,
you know?
right.
You might need like a,
Well, those 2 new ones we just bought would be perfect.
Yeah,
We wouldn't need another.
but we would need an expert to come in and help us with this fescue idea. We don't want the super thick stuff that everybody, we want the really thin, you know, you see your ball immediately, you know, you can advance it.
it doesn't grab your club
But
out
we
of your
don't need
hand.
40 feet of irrigated rough off the
Right,
fairway. We don't
right.
need that. You know, you have your standard 8 or 10 feet, maybe 5 or 6, who knows?
I like that this is a comprehensive conceptual 5-year
Yeah.
plan, and one that could bring in people like the CIP.
Yeah,
That,
so
I
that
just
was-
love that.
So that we left that meeting, so we really do talk about this stuff.
No, it's great.
We left
We
that
should.
meeting feeling pretty good about the pitch. You know, Chris Cannell is the key to pitching to CPC, he has
Yeah.
a good relation to them, and we think it makes sense for them, you know, they were spending close to 400,000, it went down to about, I think this last payment's about 280.
280, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, if it is a $5 million project,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $250,000 a year for, I don't know, I'm making up numbers now, but, you know, that, it could be a net zero for us. So on the expense side, it's a net zero, but now we have savings.
But you're going to them with a modern way of thinking about golf courses
Right.
that I think will really attract them.
Naturalized areas, it's
Yeah.
everybody, I mean, think about the best golf courses in the world, and they all have,
They're all doing it.
they're all doing it, you know, they all have
You read
the,
the USGA magazine, they've
Yeah,
had
it's all
quite a
about-
few articles
yeah.
about this.
yeah, look behind you.
Behind you.
Pebble
This is
Beach.
all natural fescue.
One of the
There
best
you go.
courses around here, Old Sandwich,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's all that.
Yeah.
Old Sandwich, Oyster Harbors, Weano, it's all the,
Mhm.
you know, there's not a lot of rough anymore.
It's kind of appropriate for Cape Cod golf courses as well. It's, very sandy.
And it's not gonna look like the front of like the Knack on 132 and it's this tall and you get lost in there. You know, that's why we need the architect to help
Okay.
us with, because there'd be a lot of overseeding, right? It'd be a lot of,
Oh, yeah.
kinda, it'd be a big change, you know?
I like it.
So we had that discussion, that's, I think.
Should be part of your financial solution.
But it sounds
It's gonna be
like,
ready just as the clubhouse comes on.
Jason.
just asked for
Sorry.
another extension on the Pro Shop trailer today,
2026.
through, May.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I'll focus on a number now it's important to note that not all of this money is collected in this fiscal year. Only about 2/3 of it, probably.
Right.
You know, all the membership money pretty much would be, but the increases to the greens fees and cart fees and range balls and all that, you know, half of that is in the second half of, that's the rub of fiscal year
Fiscal
versus
year,
calendar, yeah.
What'd you
yeah.
do in August to collect so much money in golf club rental at both courses?
I know, I couldn't believe it, I didn't understand it.
I didn't know you had anything to rent.
I don't know if you have enough clubs to generate that revenue.
We bought 8 sets at the beginning of this year. At each course, we bought 2 men's righty, 1 men's lefty, and 1 women's righty. At each course, we bought 8 sets. Spent about $4 grand. Call it $500 a piece. You know, they're nothing fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spent about $4 grand, and yeah, I mean,
How many sets you got left?
oh god, no head covers left.
No head covers, okay.
I
Yeah.
did see a lot of crappy golf, so maybe new people taking.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're not the best. We tell people when they call, "Do you have rental clubs?" Yes, but you know, they're stratas. They're
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that
I
too.
was just looking
I
at
definitely
that.
saw some people playing the blue tees that needed to be educated. They need to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
What, playing the tips when they
Yeah.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be?
Yeah,
Young kids,
Egos
just,
are.
but still,
Crazy.
you're not,
Yeah.
shouldn't.
I talk to my friends. Oh, I broke 80 for the first time. Yeah, but he played the whites. Who cares? I hate that mindset.
Yeah.
It sounds like I need to sharpen my pencil.
All right, so we are going to hear back from Jesse regarding the rates next month. And obviously, we're gonna have to take a vote on that because
The
he
deadline
has.
is like 4
yeah,
days later.
The
Yeah.
deadline. So at most, we're gonna be able to do is a little bit of tweaking, maybe, and maybe not.
If you wanted to try to meet ahead of that, you know,
Oh,
spare
that's a
him
good
from
idea.
it maybe, but you know, I'd be fine to do that if you wanted to, or you know, if you think,
I mean, I think for the most
Calendar's
part, we're
kinda
happy
crazy
with
at the
this,
moment.
Jesse,
okay.
You are running for election.
right?
Yeah.
Are people
You're not busy, are
unhappy
you?
with this proposal? Again, it's gonna be tweaked a little bit.
If he adds another 100,000.
You are happy, John, or
No,
not?
if it goes up 100 grand.
100,000.
Okay,
So I do have a question on the Hyannis only. There's 40 individuals.
Yeah.
How many of those are residents? Do you know the resident, non-resident
We don't know.
split?
We don't. I can do that.
I mean, it wouldn't be a big number, but why not charge?
Have a
them?
non-resident, like 1,100 or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
make some differentiation.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, we don't know because why would we? It's just, but I could go into
Yeah.
each one and see what their address is and their mailing address in Chelsea.
And an additional household member for a non-resident pays less than a resident?
I tried to keep. I mean, it's a good point. I tried to keep the total about what a 5% increase on the what was it, 2850? So I took that, added 5%, and I tried to make those two numbers equal about that. Does that make sense? So that really the rate's going up the same.
Okay.
But we could have a standard. Okay, so years ago, it was kind of, this was before I was director. It was kind of decided that the super senior would be half, the 80+ membership would be half of the regular membership. So we could say something like, hey, from now on, the additional household non-resident is going to match whatever the resident rate is. I think that's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, it's a good point, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered, I'll probably get screamed at for this, rather than a family rate, a couples rate?
Well, it's a household member. That's why we're doing this.
Understood.
That is 100% the reason we're doing this, is because of all these variables now.
Right,
Okay, 2 people living together.
couples,
We don't care what the arrangement is.
right.
You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying.
You're
No,
new,
I'm
you're
not-
Going to investigate.
No,
I'm
but I'm
talking
saying.
about the 4 adult sons.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're each paying, they're each gonna pay their own.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm talking about. In other words, instead of family rate, and they get like discount because of their parents in a household. You're not
He's
getting
doing
what
away
I'm
with it.
saying?
I'm not.
She's
I'm
saying
sorry.
instead of a family, have a couples rate. No family rate, couples rate.
family rate.
We're eliminating the family rate.
Yeah.
We're eliminating that word.
Oh,
What's
okay.
his-
It's adult membership and then additional household member.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
The household thing, if that went away, and, you know, we have.
I think we're muddying the waters if we go couples. It's just if you
Yeah.
live in the same address, you get the discount. Whether you're the spouse or the couple or the son
Fine,
or the
could be
mailman.
2 guys, could be 2 women, could be.
Right.
But you're couples, and just because you're an adult living in the couple's home, you get a big discount. That doesn't, I don't know, that kinda, your thing about the 4 sons really made me, my ears perked
Yeah.
up. Like, that's not fair.
Right.
Yeah,
They were paying $2,100 for 6 people.
yeah, right.
You know,
So-
that's crazy.
So in the new system, you're saying household, but now the 4 sons are still getting a big discount, right?
Yeah, but that 2,100 just turned into 936 plus.
So 6
No,
people.
no. Yeah. So 900 times 5 is 45 plus 1,300. That's $5,800 instead of 2,100.
For 6 people.
Yep.
Okay.
1 at $1,295 and 5 at $895.
All right.
So that 2,100 just turned into 5,800.
Okay. I
You
would
know,
still charge
and
you.
that's a far-fetched example, obviously.
No, but it's a
but
good
it
example
does
to
happen.
talk about.
Right. So yes, they're getting a discount, but they're each paying. It's not just, okay, $2,100, and I don't care if 12 people live in this house. You're all members.
Right.
We're doing away with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pays. You get a discount, but each person pays.
I guess I'm saying why the discount?
At all?
Yeah. Hey, we're after some money, Jesse, you know?
Nice to see you coming around.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've been there all along. Been there all along. I've always said, we keep saying we're the best dealer, you know, in 4 states and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're in this, you know, this
Correct.
situation.
Correct. And we've always been successful in that we've
Yeah.
covered our expenses.
But we have
But
deferred
the
maintenance.
correct.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time deferred maintenance.
Yep.
And that only grows in its cost over time.
Yeah. He's been this kid, smoke and mirrors, he's been pulling off.
He's a
With the lack of
brilliant,
equipment, I'm
brilliant
telling you,
super,
it's-
let me tell you.
He's very resourceful.
We love James.
Yeah.
'Cause we're lucky to have
Thank
him.
you.
Yeah.
You guys are magicians. I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I watched the drivetrain on the Toro go in the middle of the 18th fairway, towed it out with one truck, drove the other one back, finished mowing the fairway at Hyannis.
Oh, the,
Hillsy was driving, the drivetrain went on one mower.
oh, yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
White came out with the Toro, or with the
Yeah.
John Deere and towed it out,
Yeah.
brought him the other mower, he kept mowing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you've got 2 very dedicated maintenance staffs. Most of them been here a long time, especially, you know, the full-time guys.
You can tell. You
And,
can tell.
you know,
Beautiful
Chris White's a big part of that. I mean, he's been here, 30 years?
Yeah.
And municipal employees get a bad rap, but our staff really cares.
Yeah.
They really do.
All you have to do is see how well they mow the course.
Yeah.
It looks like a course that's on TV.
Yeah.
And I'll even, some of the seasonals we've had for many years are fantastic.
It's good.
They
Once a
truly
week.
do care.
Once a week, I take a picture when they stripe up 18 at Hyannis. Once a week,
Oh,
I take a
it's
picture
beautiful.
and I send it to my father.
It's beautiful.
Just say,
Yeah.
looking good, yeah.
Oh, I take pictures of 18 here all the time.
Yeah.
I've got some beautiful
He
pictures.
gets so mad. That's your office? Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they knocked over the tree on 18.
You know, that tree
No,
makes
no.
18 special, I think, here. Don't you
Have to go
think?
for the green.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a decision.
Yeah.
You go left.
Because otherwise, you'd have to narrow that fairway big time. The fairway's 80 yards wide there, right?
Yeah, but you had a great drive. Damn trees anyway.
You gotta go left
Stop
there.
hitting it so far.
Hit a stinger.
Yeah.
And I like the bunkers, the fairway bunkers there,
Yeah.
because you have to go
Yeah.
left, you
Have to
gotta,
shape
you gotta
the shot.
carry those.
That's a great finish.
Yeah, it's a
230
great
up
hole.
around the corner.
And the third shot's beautiful.
And avoid
Clubhouse
the tree.
behind it.
Yep.
It's really nice.
Oh, yeah.
I could do that. I'd be playing on Sundays.
Oh, I only make 2 to the green there.
Just two.
Yeah.
Jesse, I spoke with a non-member yesterday, and they asked me if you were gonna be running the special again, where if you sign up in the fall.
Oh, I completely forgot to bring that up. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was supposed to be part of this. So it was always October 1st. Last year, I pushed it to November 1st because I said, we're so busy, members are having a tough time. I don't want all these new members coming in with no Chelsea points, and arguably what's the best month on Cape Cod to play golf, I think, October,
Yeah.
And now they're getting, all the members that have been supporting us all year long are getting shut out. So I pushed that to November. I see maybe doing that again. I did the math on that. Over the last 5 years, it's brought in an average of about $60,000.
Ooh.
But that's not to say, it's not necessarily added revenue. Because those
It's
people.
just robbed revenue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. They
Right.
may have paid greens fees all winter long
Yeah.
or whatever, and then joined in April. So it could actually be a
Right.
loss,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
theory.
True.
But I don't know. What do you think? I mean, we can. I'm not doing it as of October 1. So
Yeah,
we
I'd
can.
No,
keep it November if you do
November
it.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
fair, yeah.
Yeah. The plan, it would, as of right now, much to the chagrin of James and Chris, they're not thrilled about this, but the plan would be, as of right now, the same as last year, where Hyannis would shut down as of the Monday before Thanksgiving. And then hopefully this place, for the last time, is open over the winter.
It's gonna get beat up again.
It is. But James and Chris will bring it back. That's what they do. It is going to get beat up. This April and May was tough, right?
It was.
I mean, yeah. It was June before I heard him say any positive things, but yeah. But I just don't see being only having one course open and not having a structure. It's
Bathrooms. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. I mean, just so. So I think that would be the plan, and I think we can confirm that special because I do need to get on that. I need to. People are asking. People are asking. They know we do it. A lot of them have been members in the past, and I think November 1 makes sense. I don't want people to get shut out of great weather.
I wanted to ask you because we had some women asking about regular, is there a budget for simple upgrades to the clubhouse here? Or is,
Like,
well, the ladies' room has one comfort height commode and 2 kindergarten commodes. And so we, ladies were
Okay.
complaining about it. Why can't they put, decent
Okay.
facilities in here? I'm trying to use nice words.
Sure.
And I just think, buying a couple of comfort height commodes would,
That can't be much.
no, that would make a big difference for women who golf here a lot. Sorry to bring it up, but not a very polite topic, but,
It's like $1,000.
yeah. You have a very, very wonderful ladies' league here.
We do.
Some people have said it's like, what? Jesse smirked.
What?
When you looked at James. But no, people have said it's one of the most vibrant,
It's
well-populated
great.
ladies' leagues on the Cape. And,
Yeah.
and
70 golfers in
Yeah.
it too.
yeah, we hear that all the time. So just a little investment in the facility here would be great.
We are. We had a decision package in the budget for this year for new carpeting. For
Oh,
all, for all of upstairs. Well, the lobby and the pro shop.
That would be great.
So I have that in my calendar for tomorrow is to start getting quotes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that's going to work while we're being open. It'll have to be maybe. Hopefully they'll do overnight or we'll whether, I don't know how that's gonna go.
Take a couple of days.
Yeah, so I don't know, if we're open and active, I don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll figure it out.
Get the coldest part of the year.
So that'll at least be happening, yeah, we'll probably, February, something.
But thank you for hearing us out.
No, of course,
Okay.
I will look into that happily.
Thank you.
And we do, when I say we have no fluff, for something like that, of course we,
Okay,
Yeah. I know I've heard people talking about like, they want upgraded porta potties at Hyannis, like the ones that, you go to an outdoor wedding and they have the, I know a guy, we know somebody who rents those, it's $2,500 for the
yeah, I
weekend.
know.
Yeah.
I do like the one that's handicapped accessible.
Even if he gave us a discount of, $500 a day,
Yeah, no,
it's not,
no, they're actually clean at
They swap them
Hyannis.
every other day.
Yeah,
They swap
every
them
other
out every other
day,
day.
and I noticed today that the vendor there seems to be trying a little bit harder to have things to eat, drinks, then it was better, I saw better than what they had last year.
They're trying, they're getting into, they wanna come back next year,
Yeah.
up until, we had, my boss and I actually we talked to them today about, we really need to get their equipment out of the clubhouse, all the kitchen equipment out of there.
In storage?
We don't care where it goes.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
That's theirs, yeah.
It's right, so we gave them kind of a November 15th deadline to get your stuff out of here, so we're not holding anything up.
Okay,
But they want to stay, and they've been doing better.
that's good.
The hours are what they are because they only have like 3 people.
Yeah,
So to ask them to be open, 90 hours a week is
no,
just.
it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
All right, I have my homework.
Yep,
All right, other comments from members? We're good? All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned, very good.